Hey guys, here's your guys' homework on solving rational equations, day number 2. Okay, so these are the odd ones. So we are going to be going over solving each equation. Remember to check for any extraneous solutions. So first of all, you guys, k cannot be 0. And the clearer reason for that is if this was 0, if this k value was 0, you guys, this whole thing would be 0, so that would not work. So k can't be 0. The LCD in this problem, you guys, is 4k. So what we're going to do is multiply this whole entire thing by 4k. This times this, cancel off the 4, so you guys will just be left with k times k plus 4. Okay, 4k times this, you guys, the 4's will cancel, so you're just left with k times k minus 1. And 4k times this one, you guys, the 4k's completely cancel, so all you're left with is k plus 4. And now we're going to do this like this distribution, right? So k squared plus 4k plus k squared minus k equals k plus 4. So we're going to combine like terms. So we're going to get 2k squared plus 3k equals k plus 4. Now, because we're probably going to have a quadratic function, we're going to set this whole thing equal to 0. So we're going to subtract k from both sides. 2k squared plus 2k equals 4. And then we're going to subtract 4 to both sides. So we're going to have 2k squared plus 2k minus 4. Now, one thing we can do, you guys, is we can factor out a 2 from each term. And then we can solve for this by factoring using your guys' x method. So we're going to get 2 and negative 1. So k plus 2 times k minus 1 equals to 0. So for this one, k equals negative 2. And k is equals to 1. And those will be your guys' two answers. Always make sure it doesn't coincide with this, right? Number 3. So n cannot be 0. That's the only value where you guys would get an undefined answer. LCD is 2, because I see a 2, and I see factors of n. But because they all have the same factor, we take the higher one, n to the second. So we multiply all this, you guys, by 2n to the second. So this times this, you guys, the n to the seconds cancel, so we're really multiplying all that by 2. 2n squared times this, you guys, we cancel off 1n from each, so we're really multiplying all of this by 2n, but don't forget there's this negative sign there too, right? So it's going to be negative 2n times 2n plus 12. And then this times this, you guys, cancel off 2n from top and bottom, but you still have a 1n remaining, so it's n times n minus 6. Now let's distribute, right? All of this to there, and that to there. And 2n squared minus 2n minus 12 minus 4n squared minus 24n equals n squared minus 6n. Combine like terms, so the n squares we can combine, the minus 2 and the minus 12n we can combine, so negative 2n squared minus 26n minus 12 equals n squared minus 6n. So let's move the n squared over to the left-hand side. And let's add 6n to both sides, right? So we are going to get negative 3n squared minus 20n minus 12. So let's factor out a negative sign, you guys, because I don't like my leading coefficient to be negative. So really we're dealing with that. So this is factoring when a is greater than 1, you guys. So a times c, so 3 times 12, 36, 20 on the bottom. the two numbers that multiply to 36, but when added gives you guys 20, that's 18 and 2. So you gotta factor this by grouping, right? 3n squared plus 18n plus 2n plus 12. We group this, you guys. Group. Factor out of 3n to get n plus 6. Factor out of 2 to get n plus 6. So what we're really dealing with is 3n plus 2 times n plus 6. So then here, n would have to be, so for this one, you guys, since it has a coefficient of 3, subtract 2 and then divide by 3. So negative 2 over 3 is negative 2/3. And here, n is equals to negative 6. And those are your guys' two answer. And it doesn't coincide with that, right? All right, number 5. K can't be 0. The LCD, you guys, is 3k to the second. So multiply all this by 3k to the second. So this times this, you guys, they cancel. So all that's left is the k squared plus 2k minus 8 equals this times this, you guys. They cancel, so you just got a 1 up top. And this times this, you guys, the k to the second cancel, so 3 times 1 will give you guys 3. So we got k squared plus 2k minus 8 equals 4. Subtract 4 to both sides, you guys. So k squared plus 2k minus 12 is equals to 0. So let me make sure everything looks good. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, negative 12. So then, what are these two factoring? I'm drawing a blank here, you guys. If that's negative 12, 1 and 12, no. 2 and 6, no. 3 and 4, no. Oh, sorry, you guys. This says 3k to the third, not 3k squared. So this should be to the third. This also should be to the third. All right, well, that changes things, right? Okay, we're gonna restart. Okay, these cancel, so you guys just get k squared plus 2k minus 8. This times this, you guys, so the 3k squares cancel with top and bottom, but you still got a k left over. So that's going to be k times 1 for k. And this times this, you guys, the k to the seconds cancel with 2k's there, and then there's still 1k left over. So that's going to be 3k times 1, 3k. There we go. So k squared plus 2k minus 8, you guys, is equals to 4k. And then we are going to subtract 4k from both sides to get k squared minus 2k minus 8 all equals to 0. Okay, I thought something was strange. So here, you guys, we factor by k minus 4 times k plus 2 equals 0. So k is going to equals to 4. And k is going to equals to negative 2. This is your guys' x method, right? This is your guys' x method. All right, so number 7. All right, so x cannot be 0. LCD, you guys, is 6x. So we're going to multiply this whole thing by 6x. This times this, you guys, these cancel, so you just have x minus 4. This times this, you guys, the 6x cancels, so we just got x squared minus 3x minus 10. And then this times this, you guys, the 6 cancels, so you just got x times x minus 1. So we can combine like terms here. And we can do a double or a distribution there. So write these from highest to lowest, right? X to the second, x minus 3x is negative 2x, negative 4 minus 10 is negative 14. x times x squared, x times negative 1, negative x. Now, since we're dealing with quadratics, let us move this over. And what do you guys know? Those cancel, so we get this. And now let's move let's solve for our x. So one thing we could do, you guys, is just add 2x to both sides. So we get negative 14 equals x. So x equals negative 14. And that should be your guys' final answer for that one. Okay, now let's do 9. Okay, so r cannot be negative 3 or it cannot be 2. Because if this was 2, then you guys would get 0 here, right? And if this was negative 3, you would get a 0 there. So it can't be negative 3 and 2. LCD is r plus 3 times r minus 2. So we're going to multiply both sides, you guys, by the LCD. So r plus 3 times r minus 2. So this times this, you guys, the r plus 3's cancel. So we just have r minus 2. This times this, you guys, the r minus 2 cancels. So you got r plus 3 times r plus 4. And this one times this one, you guys, r minus 2 cancels. So you got 6 times r plus 3. For 6 times r plus 3. So you got r minus 2 equals double distribution. So r squared plus 4r plus 3r plus 12 plus 6r plus 18. So combining like terms, we're going to get r minus 2 equals r squared plus 13r plus 30. So let's move everything to one side of the equal sign, you guys. Now, since all of this is mostly on this side, I'm just going to subtract r to both sides. We got to set it equals to 0, right? And add the 2 to both sides. So we got 0 equals r squared plus 12r plus 32. And now this is something we can factor, right? We got r plus 8 times r plus 4. Using your x method, right? So r's got it equals to negative 8 or r's got it equals to negative 4. And I will continue the rest on the next video, okay?